All right, so I've got the line set up for my ridge line between these two trees, and I'll go through each end and discuss what I did to tie it up. It's good and tight. All right, so this end, my line had a bowline knot in this end, and I did just the same thing I did with my shelter yesterday. I took part of the main line, looped it through the bowline, and stuck a toggle in there to hold it in place, and then I cinched it up against the tree to tighten it, and then I pulled my line over here. Now this end did not have, I don't want to do that, did not have a bowline in it. It was just a loose end. So what I did was what's referred to as a trucker's hitch. I had the main cord here. It came around the tree to this side, and I'll do a video one of these days when I find a way or find somebody to hold it for me, hold the camera for me, to show you the trucker's hitch. But I took the main line that came from that end, and you loop it towards the tree and lay it over itself, pull a loop through, and then pull on that loop, and it makes a nice little loop out of the line itself. And then you take your loose end that's on this side and you pull it through that loop. So you're on this side of the tree, you've got the loose end through the loop, you can pull back and tighten it. What you want to do then is a slight modification to the normal trucker's hitch. This is something I actually just watched a video about. You pull it through that loop again and keep the second wrap through the loop underneath the first wrap. You can pull it tight, and unlike just having the one loop through, if you have two loops through it, or two wraps through that loop, when you let go after you tighten it, it'll stay. It'll hold itself. And then what you do after, actually I can just show you what you do after, because it doesn't really take, it only takes one hand. So I've got it looped, and you can see this is the original loop. This is all part of this line that goes back around through the tree. So this is that loop. I pulled this end through it twice, and this is what comes out the end. I can pull it tight, but it's pretty much as tight as it's gonna go. I don't know, without ripping the tree down, or I guess breaking my paracord, but I doubt either one will happen. I don't have that kind of upper body strength. Anyway, so you've got this end hanging down. What you want to do then is loop it. Let me hold the camera with my right hand and show you with my left. But you loop it, and you put that loop through there, down like that between the two. There you go. And then you take this line and pull it up in a loop through the original loop that goes through there. So now you've got it like that, the loop through the loop, and you want to hold it. You can kind of tighten it this way, and you just tighten it in on itself. You'll want to pull on that left strand there to tighten it down. And then you're good. So then when you go to take down your setup here, all you got to do is pull on the loose end. Now what I did here, so I made this line extra long to, in case my trees are farther apart. So there's probably about 10-15 feet of extra paracord here. All I did was wrap it around my fingers. Oh, and I pulled it loose. Anyway, I'll reset that on my own in a second, but all I did was wrap the paracord around my fingers, and then wrapped it around itself a bunch of times, getting to right here when I had just about 5-6 inches left of the paracord. I did a clove hitch right here. So I crossed the last two wraps over themselves and then brought a third one up through the middle of that X, and you pull it tight and it cinches down on itself. And that's just something you can do with the excess. Since this is a quick release thing that you can just pull and undo, what I'm gonna do is after I redo that quick release loop, I'm just gonna lay that up there like that. So anyway, I'll get to that, show you the results of that in a second. All right, so I've got that loop just kind of holding it all in place. And then I took my excess that I have wrapped up here and I just set it up there, just like I said I was going to. All right, these are it's just a strand of paracord. I did a fisherman's knot to tie the ends together in a way that they're not going to come apart. And then once you have just that circle that's going to create, you just kind of wrap it around. So, I mean, you can see here exactly how I did this. I don't even have to undo it. But so you lay the circle over the line, and this is the loop that you'll want to have hanging over, kind of like this. See how this loop here is over the top, and then you just wrap it around the line inside that loop a couple of times and make sure you keep it all straight and in order, and you've got this. Now what this will do is when I don't want it tightened down, I can move it along the line whichever direction I need it. But when I hook it up to my tarp, what'll happen is I'll cinch it down and it'll be out here, right? And my tarp will be laying right here, and this will be hooked to one of the grommets. And when I pull tight, you can yank on that, and it's very difficult to move. Once I have tension on both ends, realistically, what'll happen is these loops will hold each other in place just through the sheer power of tension. This one's going to be on this end, and this longer one's going to be in the middle because it's what I'm going to hang my lantern from. And then I'll have this one on this end. So let me get the tarp set up. All right, so tarp's set up, all staked down and everything. As you can see, I've got a toggle that I just put in here. I put the loop through the grommet, stuck in the toggle, and there you go. Pulled that tight. Over here, same thing. Wooden toggle through the loop that's going through the grommet. Pulled it tight. Now, yes, this will go a little bit out from the line, but that's okay. It's still being held taut, and all of this is still holding, and we're looking good. So the other thing I did over here, all that should typically be necessary is to put a stake in each corner. However, it's been a bit breezy, a bit windy today, and to be honest, with the last couple shelters, I had the wind, causing a few problems here and there. So what I did was I took a couple of the stakes that I borrowed from a buddy. Because I already have 6, although one of them's bent. But, I didn't know exactly what I was going to be doing today, with this trip, so never hurts to have a couple extra, right? And see, that guy is coming up. I'm having kind of the same issue with my corner stakes here as I did over there, and that's that they're close to these trees, so the angles I'm having to put them in don't make it the most secure, but that's all right, because I've got those. And you can see, actually, that I can move those out a little bit, because the tarp is bowing up right there. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of again, the ground here is really soft as long as you're not hitting a root. So most of these stakes, you can seriously just push in by hand. There we go, nice and tight. Again, so you can see why I didn't set this up on the nights that there was a chance of rain. There's no sides, it's all open. But look at all that space. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Anyway, so my next step is going to be, I'm going to take that brown tarp and I'm just going to lay it on the bottom here as a bit of extra protection from ground. And oddly enough, bugs won't, I mean, they do, but they don't crawl on it as much as they would, you know, if you're just laying on the bare ground. Bugs being bugs, I guess they prefer to hide underneath. Anyway, I'll get that set up and I'll show you what that looks like. I believe that that tarp is the same size as this tarp, so what I might do is just line up the back end with the back end of my shelter tarp and stake them all down with the same stakes and just bring it out here and stake it down here. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. So apparently I was wrong about the brown tent, or brown tarp. It's, I think it's a 9 by 12, to be honest, or maybe bigger. So all I did was I brought one edge up against the backside of my shelter, staked down each of the corners, and then took it that way. Now, this side is a little bit too long for me to stretch the tarp out all the way. So what I did was I folded it under itself and I staked down the corners over here. So as you can see, the wind is causing a problem with that. But realistically, aside from picking a new location for this, there's not a whole lot I can do about that. I might find a way to be a clever boy. I have a lot of paracord with me, so I think I can actually figure something out here. What I'm thinking is to take a long strand of paracord, something like this, take it, run it through where the fold is at, so run it along the crease, and then tie it at the base of these trees. That way I'll have a line holding that crease down, at least somewhat holding it down. Let me give it a shot, see how it works. What I might have to do also is, I'll probably undo that stake right there, fold it over, and put a my last stake into one of the center grommets there, just to hold the whole thing tight so it doesn't bow as much. I don't know. I'll figure it out and I'll explain it when I'm done. Alright, so it's a bit weird, but I'll explain what I did. So I took my my 3 lines of paracord that had the bowline knots in the ends, and I just tied the ends together. I realized after the fact that I only needed, like after I had it all set up, I was like, wow, I should have only tied the 2 green ones together. Because my 2 green ones are 9 foot, that brown one is 12 foot. Heck, it might have even sufficed with just the brown line. But anyway, I got it all strung up, and I'm out of stakes. So what I did was I took 2 strong, sturdy, but thin sticks, and long, and I drove them into the ground as far as I could. This one's in about 1.5 feet. I wanted it as deep as I could get it because I don't have, like, it doesn't have a hooked end or anything, and they are just sticks, so they could come out or break or whatever. So I drove it down as deep as I could. I hooked this line on the end, and like I said, I had already strung it through, and I hooked this one up over here, It's driven in, that's probably in about a foot. Now, realistically, it doesn't have to be all that tight. But if I wanted to, there's a bunch of notches in this one, so to tighten it up a little bit, I can push that down and hook it under one of the other. Actually, I think I'll do that. So there's one right there. So if I take this, let me turn that around here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bowline knot here and just hook the loop underneath that little notch right here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive it back down, and it's going to pull that with it. So now that's actually, my line is actually kind of in the ground. So get off me, fly. So there's that. Like I said, that one's probably in about a foot. Feels kind of loose, to be honest, but I think it'll suffice. So that's what I have. It's not incredibly tight, but it doesn't really need to be. It's just to kind of keep the wind from completely folding it up over itself. And as I stated before, what I did was I put a couple of stakes along that edge in the middle as well. I put the ones that get more flush with the ground. These orange ones stick up really far. I don't want to be crawling out of my shelter and like jab my knee onto one of them. That would just not be fun. That would be pretty painful. So the other, yeah, there's one right there, and the other one I believe is about, it's over here somewhere. Yeah, that's a pine cone. I don't think it's that far. Whatever. It's holding down one of the grommets in there somewhere. But I could have redone it and taken out the brown line and just tied the two green lines together and just redone the whole thing. But I didn't feel like pulling that up and crawling back under there again and doing all that. So that's fine. I just need to watch where I'm walking because my fire pit's right there. I don't want to trip on this line. But it's a booby trap. Somebody comes into my camp in the night, tries to rob me. Boom! Oh my gosh, tripwire. Actually, all they'd probably do is just rip that out of the ground. But that's not the point. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, I think there's still some heat left there. Yeah. So what I can do is just pile some pine needles and stuff on top of that, put some sticks around it, and then put some over the top. And the heat from the coals of the fire I had earlier should, it'll take a minute, but it should light that right up, and I don't even have to really do anything. If it looks like it's taking too long for my patience to tolerate, I'll just use my lighter. Anyway, I'm gonna get that started, throw some lunch on my fire after I move all of my stuff back into my shelter, and see how this is. So I just came to a realization that probably excites me more than it should. So with this shelter configuration, and you can see the wind's blowing, clouds are starting to kind of roll in. I still don't think it's supposed to rain tonight, but here's the awesome thing. With how I have this set up, this could easily transition into my other shelter. So all I'd have to do is move the stuff in a little bit. So move the cooler closer to my sleeping bag, and my bag closer to my sleeping bag. Then, because of the quick release, this would be really fast, really simple. I can drop the two corners. Then I'd have to undo the quick release on, well, really only on one side. So I'd probably drop this one, drop it down a bit, and then drop this side down too. I'd probably drop this side down first while everything was loosened up. And then I could string it back across at a lower level, and then hook these with the toggles. Instead of hooking them to the corner parts, I'd hook them to these parts right here. Grab a stake or two, probably from the back, And I'd roll that back edge of the brown tarp up a little bit. Probably, maybe not, I don't know. But anyway, I'd basically just move this setup here to these toggles, stake the corners down into the ground, and boom, I'm back to my old shelter. I don't have to move the tarp, I don't have to move the back, nothing. Just literally drop down my ridge line and reconnect these in my center grommets. Well, and stake it all down, of course, but yeah, real quick. It may not be as efficient, but if it starts a downpour, I'm going to want those sides, and I will have those sides for a little extra protection. I don't know. It would probably take me about 2 minutes, and I think that's awesome. Just had a little visitor run pretty much right through my camp. Oh yeah, you go ahead. You pump that chest up. Intimidate me. Yeah, let's see how close he'll let me get. I ain't gonna hurt you. You're fine. Just sit there and bask in the sun, little buddy. He's big compared to a lot of the other ones. Oh yeah, do your push-ups. Intimidate me. I'm telling you. I'm so scared right now. He looks back almost like he knows I'm mocking him. Come on, bro. I just want to hang out. Can I take you home? Oh, let's see if I can try and get a good... Oh, stupid sticks. I want to see if I can show that belly. Hey, big guy. I ain't gonna hurt you. You can almost see it. No, don't run away. Well, I'm not sure where he went, but these guys tend to disappear in the bark, as demonstrated with the one I saw yesterday. What was that sound? Whatever. Hopefully, oh, he's climbing up on the other side. There you are. Hey, let me get pretty close. Come on. Alright. I'll quit terrorizing you wherever you went. There you are. Alright. See you later, little buddy. Well, I got me a can of soup right in the middle of my coals there. As you can see, she's starting to bubble. And I think she's just about ready. So I'm going to pull her off and use my nice little camp fork and dig in. Roasting hot dogs the lazy way. As the saying goes, work smarter, not harder. Yes. So I've decided to go on a little trek into the woods. As you can see, there is no sun today, so I can't really orient myself off of that, but you know what? I'm gonna go a little bit into the fancy tech world. And it's not even something that I did or that I bought, or it's just this phone happens to have a compass on it. So I'll use that. But one thing that I want to kind of stress to make sure, you know, people don't get lost and get hurt is that anytime you're going to go for a hike, anytime you're going to leave your camp area, or you know, if you get yourself stranded in the woods somehow, or somebody strands you in the woods somehow, one thing you always want to do before you start walking away from a spot that you have scouted and that you know is get your bearings. Always get your bearings, always know where you're going, or know the direction you're going and the direction you need to go to get back to where you were. If you want to get back to where you were anyway. Sometimes you just don't. But, man, this is a really nice area. Holy cow. Well, I'm going to go explore. Alright, I'll check back in with you later. So as I've been walking, I have realized two things. First off, this is the more important part, I think. I definitely came the right direction. Like, there are some awesome spots around here. I mean, this ground is too wavy right here, but from behind that looked like a giant pine cone. Anyway, see? There's just the trunks of these trees. Anyway, the second thing I realized is that I should have definitely sprayed myself down with more insect repellent before I came out here. I am being hounded and harassed by mosquitoes. It's right here. Just a fluff. See, this spot's relatively flat. Clear out all the sticks. And I guess those two little bush tree things right there. But yeah, clear this out. There's room for a shelter in here. Look around, make sure there's no dead trees that are gonna fall on us. We look like we're in the clear. Yeah, it's a good spot. Then again, the spot I just walked through a minute ago was also a really, really good spot. But, yeah, hey, look, there's a little, like game trail or something through here. Really shouldn't spend much time on this. Animals don't like it when you're on their game trails. Yeah, this is just some great scenery. I just wanted to record a little bit of it for you. This is really out in the middle of nowhere. Like, I'm only getting vague echoes of engine noise from boats and trucks and such. And, I mean, all you hear is birds and animals and my loud mouth. Oh, look at this. Spiderweb in my face. Hey, kind of looks like it clears up over there. We'll go see what's over there. Probably a friggin' road. I'll take you along with me on this adventure. Well, would you look at that? Looks like I was right. It's a road. However, the good thing about this road here Well, there's two good things. One, I kind of lost my bearing a little bit further back after my little lecture about always know where you're going and where you need to go. I mean, I could figure it out if I wanted to. Like, realistically, I would just head that way for a little bit. And then when I get back to the area, I remember, because I can remember it pretty clearly, where I first started recording, I would hang a left and head straight that way. Another nifty thing I could do, though, is just follow this road that way and then turn right where you see that path at. That's also something I could do. However, the clearing was not just the road, but also the river with no real clear way down to it. Awesome. Let's see if I can find a way down. I mean, road, there's so many people that come through here on a daily basis. You'd think that somebody would have carved out a path to get down there and do some fishing. Oh, I hear voices. So I'm actually in an area now that's blocked off by one of those orange gates. And I think if I take that path over there that I was talking about earlier, I think that takes me right back to that orange gate. And my car is right on the other side of that. So I'm not really lost in the woods. Actually, you know what? If this is the river, I don't think I follow that path at all. I think I just stay on this road. Yeah. Wow, I'm an idiot. After all this, oh, well, I could just go back this way and then turn that way, and there's the path, and there's this. You can see my freaking car through the trees. All right, so I'm not really a 100% certified woodsman. So what? I said that at the beginning of this video. I am learning. You are learning. We are learning. So, yeah. My little bit of genius and overconfidence in my own skills kind of showed through a little bit there. But, you know, whatever. I was going to try to walk straight through, but I just remembered that that's a little swampy area down there. Yeah, I ain't cutting across that. Plus, that's like mosquito breeding ground USA. It's friggin' horrible down there. Yeah, how did I not figure out that that's what I was doing? Because I crossed straight through. I mean, there's the gate over there. You can kind of see it through the trees. A little bit of orange. But I went that way, and then I went that way, and then I came this way. Jeez, idiot. You know what? As a matter of fact, that right there is where I first went into that section of woods. Learning experiences, people, learning experiences. This is one of those where, hey, I learned a little something or worked on a little something about navigating myself in the woods, and also the get away from me, mosquito. The other learning experience portion of this was never, ever, ever overestimate yourself. Bad idea. Anywho, I'm going to take a break on... Oh, look at this bottle. And I got a mosquito bite on my neck. But I killed the mosquito. Get off my finger now. You're dead. Go away. Anyway, I'm right next to Mosquito Breeding Ground USA, so I'm going to go back to my camp, which is right on the other side of Mosquito Breeding Ground USA, and I'm going to take this little bottle with me. All right, y'all. Talk to you later. So, So, one other thing I know about this area is that the river, like facing the river, like I am right now, is east. Almost directly east. So, that is west. That is the direction I was heading in. So yeah, if I'd have bothered to pull out my compass and, you know, kind of check it and get my bearings every now and then, which I did not do in the least, I'd have known exactly where I was. Yep. But that's what I'm saying. So you pick a feature. I keep recording my neck for you. You like that? Anyway, you pick a feature like the river or a particular clearing that you know you will recognize the instant you see it. And you figure out from the direction you'll be heading where it is. So say you're like, okay, well, I know town is this way, but there's this clearing in case I don't find the town. There's a spider on my hat. Just kind of dangling on a little piece of web right in front of my face. Anyway, you go, okay, well, I'm lost in the woods, but I know town was somewhere that way. I'm going to recognize this clearing, and I'm going to walk that way. Look at a compass first. Say, if I'm walking this way, what direction do I need to go to get back to camp? And if you're ever out in the woods, always make sure you have a compass. Because, like, realistically, there's all these dead reckoning skills and all this and that. But if you are prepared and you have a compass on you when you go into the woods, you don't need any of that. You really don't. You just gotta pick landmarks as you go. You know, this big tree that's twisted and gnarled in this way looks like it has a chair in it. You know, and go, okay, well then I'm still going this direction from this tree. And then later on you just pick another landmark. And then you exactly reverse course and you say, okay, I went west from this tree, so now I need to go east from this tree. You know, the whole, yeah. Anyway, you get the idea. It's not complicated. But, yeah, if I'd have bothered to check my compass, I'd have known, oh, hey, I'm about to cross that road and the orange gate is over there. But I didn't. Always know where you're going. I just gave you a prime example of how not to be stupid. All right, I've already got pretty much everything already loaded up into the car. Just my backpack and this one last tarp. I just wanted to do, you know, to give you a quick look at one reason why this setup is so awesome. So, to let this side go, you just wiggle out your toggle. Boom. One corner down. Then, for this side, you just pull on it and pull it back. Well, I should have done this side first, to be honest, but because I wrapped it around that second time, it's a little bit more difficult. But if I had done this right, it would have been easy out. So that's why this setup is so cool. You can just pull this end and then go over to the other side, drop your toggle, and the whole thing will collapse down. And yeah, that's it. Then you can take off the toggles off the green here, just like that. And you're ready to pack it up and stow it away. Alright guys, so just a couple of quick lessons learned from this camping trip while I do a sweep of the area to make sure I got everything into the car. Well, first, don't talk a big game if you're going to mess it up, right? So, know where you're going. Don't get lost. Second, one thing that I just recorded is when you got your ridge line set up and you're taking it down and you want to take advantage of the quick release nature of that ridge line, unhook the trucker's hitch first. Yes, because it needs to be taut when you pull on it to release it. So do that part first, then take out your bowline and toggle part on the other tree. Insect repellent. Don't skimp on it. I have mosquito bites. Many of them. Most of them from last night. I don't know. It's like they just suddenly realized I was here. There was one other thing I was going to go over. Oh yeah, explore. So that first night I got here, I just set up right where I parked at, right? And the next day I saw a much better place, not frickin' 100 feet away. So if I had taken the time to go ahead and look around a little bit, it wasn't raining badly enough for that to be a problem. And if I had done it, I would have been in this sweet setup the entire time. So, again, before you set up camp, you find a really good one, all right. But take a few extra minutes to scout around and look around and make sure there isn't something even better not 50 feet from you. So, you know, do your due diligence and find literally the best spot you can. So, pack swim trunks if you're going to be by water. Swimming. I love swimming. Anyway, yeah, I think that covers the big stuff. Just know where you're going and know the best ways to use the techniques that you're learning and experimenting with to set up and take down your shelter and your camp in the most efficient way possible. All right, well, I think that about wraps it up for this video. I'm gonna get in the car and get out of Dodge. Hopefully make it down that little hill. But stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and get out there and have some fun. Catch y'all later.